Okay, so here are some fun facts about Bangladesh. You can just click the slide. So like I mentioned, it is next to India, and the official language is Bangla or Bengali. That is the flag of Bangladesh. It's green and red. The national animal, like you all guessed, is the Royal Bengal tiger. So Bangladesh is the number 8th most populated country in the world, and so that is actually a train where there's people on top, in the middle, and all over the sides. Bangladesh also has the longest beach in the world called the Cox's Bazar. And then Bangladesh has 6 seasons instead of 4. And they are summer, monsoon, autumn, late autumn, winter, and spring. And Bangladesh also is a majority Muslim country. So now we're going to talk about movies in Bangladesh, but before we do that, we're also going to learn some movie-related words in Bangla. So the word for movie in Bangla is cinema. It's just the same as cinema, but with kind of an accent. And so if you want to say, do you want to watch a movie, you would say cinema dekhte chao. So if everyone could say the word for movie in Bangla, we'll say it together, cinema. And then for a film star or movie star, if it's a male, then you would say nayok. So if everyone could say nayok.
Yeah.
And then the word for the female movie star is very similar, but just a little bit different. And it would be naika. Good job, everyone. So movies in Bangladesh are characterized by a couple of different things. You could click next on this slide. So they're instead of what we have in the US, we call it Hollywood. They have something called Hollywood, but it's pretty much where they make all the movies. And then their movies are characterized by melodramatic cinema, and we'll talk about what that means in the next slide. And there are a lot of songs in movies which you might not see in the US, but it's very typical to see people singing and dancing in movies. So then you click next. So we talked about what melodramatic means in a movie. And so it means when there's a lot of exaggerated features, a lot of dramatic music, facial expressions, and zoom-ins. And so this is a scene. It's very similar to Bengali and Bangla movies, but it's actually an Indian one. But if you could click the video, we can watch an example of what that means. And it's a little bit funny. It's a girl, she doesn't know that you're not supposed to wash a laptop, but somebody tells her to do that anyways. And so then her husband finds out she's doing that, and she just gets, it's just the reaction of what everybody sees. And there's her husband. And it goes on like that for a while, but you can just see how they zoom into the camera and the face, and the music gets really exaggerated. So that's very characteristic of something you would see in a Bangla movie.
Yeah. Don't watch your laptop at home.
Yeah, don't do that. And then these are some examples of movie posters, which are really common. A lot of people will put them out in the streets, even on their cars, and on some public transportation. You would see like some of these kinds of drawings on. And so there's a lot of fighting, and there's a lot of there's usually like a main man and a woman, and there usually like is a romantic interest. Can you go to the next slide? So before we go into that, yeah, so one of the most popular sports that you might watch on TV in Bangladesh is called cricket. And cricket is very similar to baseball, but it's a lot longer and there's a lot of different rules with it. But that's one of the most popular sports in Bangladesh, and they compete against other countries in the world, kind of like you might see in soccer. And then here on the other picture, you see pictures of people in Bangladesh who are big fans of soccer, and some of their two favorite teams are actually Brazil and Argentina. So you see a little bit of connection between our two countries.
If you watch sports at their house, you can raise your hand if you watch sports at home. Yeah.
Cool. And then these are just also in Bangladesh, another famous type of thing you might see on TV is comedy. And we won't watch the video because it's a little bit longer, but comedies are typically written by and for older audiences, and especially during the holiday seasons, you'll see more comedies kind of coming on TV. And then this is an example of a news clip. It's kind of similar to what you might watch on TV at home, but we'll just watch a couple, like about 30 seconds of it.
বিজেপির যুব মোর্চার নবান্ন অভিযানকে ঘিরে ধুন্ধুমার, বিভিন্ন জায়গায় পুলিশের লাঠিচার্জ, ঢল কামানের ব্যবহার, বেশ কয়েকজন আহত বলে অভিযোগ।
So yeah, just kind of something very similar to what you might see here, but obviously with a lot of different language and music and things like that.
You guys can see there's a different alphabet. The letters look different. And they were also wearing masks, right? So a lot of other countries in the world also have to wear masks like we do.
And then these are some cartoons. So a lot of cartoons are influenced by religion and other cultural elements. So in that first video, we can watch a short piece of that. And he's basically one of the gods visiting this man. He's the god of the seasons.
রূপা ভগবানকে দেখে চমকে গেল আর ওনাকে প্রণাম করলো।
তুমি কেন আমায় সব সময় দোষারোপ করো? প্রণাম প্রভু, কারণ আপনি সব মরশুমের কর্মকর্তা। আপনি মরশুমের পরিবর্তন করেন। আপনারই কথাতে ঝড় বৃষ্টি এসে আমার ক্ষেত নষ্ট করে দেয়, আর আজ
So he's just visiting him, and he's very shocked that he's in the presence of this person, this god who controls the seasons. And so that one's based in Hindu religion, which is another famous religion in Bangladesh. And then obviously a lot of the American cartoons that were in America are also sometimes translated into Bangla. So this is a clip from SpongeBob. Some of you mentioned that you enjoy watching SpongeBob. I did too. And so this is just a short clip that has been translated in Bangla. So we can just watch a couple seconds of that one too.
এখন আমি সেই মাছগুলোর কথা বলবো যাদের গায়ে খুব দুর্গন্ধ। ওরা এমন যারা বেশিরভাগ সময় থাকে পানিতে, তাহলে ওদের গায়ে এত দুর্গন্ধ হয় কিভাবে?
So yeah, the same thing that we've seen, but just in a different language. Yeah, awesome. So now we're going to learn a little bit about music in Bangladesh. But first, we're going to learn some phrases and words that relate to music in Bangla. So the word for song or music in Bangla is called gan. So if everyone could say gan. The flute, which is a very popular instrument in a lot of folk music in Bangladesh, is called bashi. And melody or harmony, like in a song, would be shur. Okay, so this is a picture of some of the famous folk instruments that you may hear in Bangla music. And so the one with the strings, they look sort of like a banjo. That's very popular. And then the one with in the middle with the little pipes, that's a type of flute. And then the bottom two are forms of Bangla drums, and they're called the tabla. And so when you hear all of them together in the next slide, we'll hear how they all sound together. And then in the middle, this is a picture of a famous songwriter. His name was Rabindranath Tagore, and he was the first person to win a Nobel Prize in all of Asia. But he's very famous for writing a lot of the popular poems that have later been turned into songs. And he also wrote the national anthem of the country. And then the last one is called a harmonium. It's sort of like a mix of a piano and an accordion. So you play the keys with your right hand, and then with your left hand, you would move the accordion-like part. And so that's how it sounds together. And then we're going to hear a little clip of folk music and how they all sound. Yeah, so you see how all the different instruments kind of come together, and it's very special, especially in a lot of the village cultures where people just get together and dance and sing to music.